I've got 3 honorable mentions, guys, that are intriguing but just didn't quite make the list. Some years we've done 25. If we had done 25, they definitely would have been on there. Those 3 are Anthony Bradford. Intriguing, although nerve-wracking. Like, not always intriguing for the right reasons. But the size, and it does look like he's in the lead for that right guard competition. Mm-hmm. So Bradford's an honorable mention. So is Abe Lucas, who could very easily be on this list, and maybe he's an oversight. But, you know, again, you can only get 20 on there. Abe Lucas came close. And then the other was Robbie Oots, who dominated his first preseason game. He was awesome as a fullback. So those 3 are honorable mentions. They were not left off. It's not a mistake. It just or a oversight. They just,
omission. Yeah,
they just didn't quite crack the top 20.
Number 20.
All right, number 20 is a tie. So, as I said, we might get a couple more than 20 onto this list, but a tie for good reason because really...
We're gonna find a way to get 53.
Yeah, all 53 guys. They're all intriguing. What can I tell you?
Not missing one of them. No chance to miss any of them.
Not after Cal. I'm going to go with both Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet together, and I think that's the thing that is intriguing is the battle for the starting running back spot. You alluded to it earlier, Brock. I guess Brady talked about it. It's something that I've felt strongly about for the last year plus. Like, I just think there should be a legitimate competition to see who the number 1 running back is. And in this system, it strikes me that Zach Charbonnet should be a better fit. Bill Barnwell explains why.
With the run game, we've seen Kenneth Walker do it for stretches. He obviously has incredible big playability, but, you know, he hasn't been consistent. I think you're looking at maybe a guy who's sort of a boomer bust runner, which is fine, but you have to boom, and he hasn't boomed as much as I might like the past couple of years. So I'm hopeful, but also skeptical, which is probably reflects about a 19th place finish.
Yeah, and I would say just that style, to me, doesn't fit the way the roster is constructed. It doesn't fit the way the roster is constructed. They have not spent a lot of their resources on big-time weaponry on the outside. That's just not who they are. Mm-hmm. They're better in third and medium, third and short. And if you want that, you can't be boom or bust. You've got to be fairly consistent. And I think it's one of the reasons Coach was so high on Zach Charbonnet.
He's just a stud. I mean, he's just everything you want in a person and a football player. That's him. I mean, he's just does it every day. Same person, great spirit, strong as an ox, does everything right. I mean, you know, you just go, what do you want from a football player? Zach Charbonnet, you know.
Well, and then you watch him in, you know, pass pro pickup, and he dominates in so many of those parts of the game. And I did pull the numbers from last year. Now, you can take them for whatever they're worth. Zach Charbonnet average yards per carry, Brock, last year was?
4 point something.
4.2. Ken Walker, 3.7. I mean, those numbers are meaningful to me.
Half a yard.
That's a big difference. Right over the course of 2, like if you run the ball twice, that's a full yard difference. Mm-hmm. That factors in quite a bit. So I would like to see a lot of Zach Charbonnet this year. It's not a shot at Ken Walker, and maybe when it's all said and done, maybe Walker just turns it on and the stretch runs are just perfect for him, and he just finds those holes in the cutback lanes, and maybe that works great for him. But I really think you got to have a level of consistency, and that does make me a little nervous. So that's why they are tied at number 20 in terms of the most intriguing.
It's complicated. It's complicated, to your point about the way that they're built and equipped, and you know, Torrey Horton may change some of that conversation as a big play explosive threat, Salk. But as far as pure explosive fiber of anybody offensively, like pure hit it 450 feet, hit it louder than anybody else, like just pure explosive, game-wrecking, home run-making, game-changing playmaking, it's Ken Walker on your offense. Mm-hmm. But it's also strikeout, and then not available, not posting. That's the most complicating part of it all. Like in a year where he needed to have more availability than ever through the offseason, through training camp, do what Zach Charbonnet's done, not miss a day. Mm-hmm. Well, once again, he missed most of OTAs with a lingering ankle, and now he's got a sore foot, and then it's going to be a hamstring. Like, you just can't rely on him.
So what?
It's a hard place to be.
Which is, you know, for me, Charbonnet fits in terms of the overall offense and the design, the style of the way it was built.
So does Ken.
But what about I guess my question though is, what about the outside zone?
Oh,
do you have a sense as to which player is a better fit for the outside zone?
I think they both fit. Honestly.
Differently? Because they're pretty different runners.
They fit differently. They fit differently as long as Ken's going to be disciplined, and this is your track, and it's the outside butt cheek of the tight end, and that is going to be your aiming point every time, and you're going to go there regardless. And then, we've got a little running back. It's super fun. This dude is unbelievably fast.
Ding.
And I know I'm going to do it. You can go ahead and have a little. We need to have a little ding, a little one of those bells at the hotel desk when the receptionist is absent.
Ding.
A little ding, and they want to cut back. Right? Because because they're so explosive. And it's like, nope, you will go A to B to C. Do not cut back, right? On some of the different schemes that we have and we employ for a reason. And Charbonnet is so disciplined in that. That's not necessarily Ken's background, Salk, but if you say, hey, can he do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And oh, by the way, when he puts his foot in the ground, he goes up the big gap because there is an alley there. He can take it 75. Where I don't think Charbonnet has quite that amount of juice.
Number 19 is cornerback Riq Woolen, Brock. And I think it's just such a big year for him. What?
There's 18 more intriguing guys than Riq, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
For me.
Wow.
Yeah. You think that's too low?
I mean, on the surface, that feels low.
I think
just on the surface.
Yeah, if it had been a year ago, I think, and maybe you're right. I mean, again, I think there's a lot of wiggle room with some of these guys. It's like the draft. Right, where like numbers 10 through 19 maybe are interchangeable, right? Like there's a shelf, number 9, number 10, and then everybody after that is in their own, could kind of jumble up. I guess like, I don't know. At this point, I feel like I'm starting to get a sense as to who Riq Woolen is, and so maybe that takes it down a notch, but it's obviously a huge season for him as this is becoming like his opportunity to earn that next contract. And whether it's going to be here or somewhere else, can he be a physical player? Can he be a consistent player? He was asked about it and gave a very nice, thoughtful answer about what this year is like.
Honestly, my mindset is still the same. I mean, there's no difference. All you're doing is playing football. That's all it really is playing football, and all the other stuff will take care of itself. I just thank God to be able to be in a position where I put myself in to be able to be considered for extension or be able to consider, to be as a high-rated player in a contract year. So just being able to, soak it all in because, Judgment Day is coming, and it's a realistic thing. But I really ain't tripping too much. My biggest thing was to, give everything I got this season for my teammates and for the 12s, because there is a chance or I may or may not be here. So other than that, I'm being where my feet at. I love this team. I love this city. I love this organization, everybody here. And they the team that drafted me and gave me a chance to be able to be in the position I am right now. So I'm not really focused too much on the contract stuff. I know it'll come. I just got to continue being Riq Woolen.
Yeah. All right. It's a big year for him, though, right? I mean, like...
You know why it feels low to me, by the way? Why I think on the surface it feels low?
Talent level?
Julio and Cal's ceiling are the highest on the Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
It's positional players. A little difference, kind of apples and oranges between the pitchers and of the 20, whatever it is, 15 to 20 positional players. Like, it's obvious those two. And we're seeing Cal exceed any ceiling any of us imagined this year. He's on a stairway to heaven, well beyond the ceiling, doing things that nobody even ever imagined. When it comes to the Seahawks, just pure ceiling, Salk? Like, who's got the highest ceiling if they get there and they hit it from a talent standpoint? Isn't it Riq Woolen, like, right up there with anybody else?
Yeah, I in some ways, yes. So I understand that
When
argument.
you hear Julian Love and you hear these guys say, like, there's nobody. Like, right when I asked, who did I ask?
But, Brock, it's also been 3 years. Like, and for the last 2, we've seen some of the same challenges. And I guess I'm also looking, and I'm just looking at the list right now and some of the guys that are going to be here above him. It's not always, some of it is something new, right? That we have no idea really what to expect. Some of it is the positions they play. Corner is obviously an important spot, but, I'm more concerned with the defense in general, and I kind of know he's going to give the Seahawks at least a baseline performance. I think the bigger question with him is, can he do all of it? Can he play the whole game? And he answered some of that this offseason as well, because I think there's a perception that he's just not always giving 100%.
Honestly, I'm a chill guy. I'm a laid-back guy. You know, some people may mistake that as lazy or not caring, but I'm a just laid-back guy. I'm always happy. You know, I'm not one of those guys that talk too much. People really don't even talk trash to me, and if they do, it'd be kind of crazy because it's like I haven't said nothing to you, but a lot of people know that I'm a great player, so they really don't talk trash anyway. For me, I just go out there and play the game. Some people may talk something to me, but I may laugh or I may say something, but I'm not like just a talkative person. I just like to, you know, stay clear-headed and just play my game, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I also know a day like yesterday is exactly the kind of days that you can't be laid back. Accountability, communication, technique, those are the things you're talking about, right? Those are the things. That's why he was benched to start a game last year, like just accountability. Like you got to have an urgency. It's this funny thing. It's this personality. Can you be laid back in football? Yeah, you could be laid back, but when you step on the white lines, can you play laid back? No. I don't believe you can.
Right, you got to.
And I believe the greatest corners, the Charles Woodsons, the Champ Baileys, the greatest corners that I ever saw that were ever in my era, the greatest positional players, the Ed Reeds, Troy Polamalu's, right? Yeah, you could be laid back off the field, but tell me like an elite player that played laid back. There may be some. I don't know. Go ahead, Textor. Tell me somebody that's got that laid back
As a corner?
Just a football player, any position.
Certainly hard for me to think of a corner, who has
O
that.
lineman, D lineman,
they tend to be
linebacker,
guys
tight
that
end,
really
receiver.
talk.
Like, tell me somebody that can
Darrelle
play.
Revis that much of a talker?
I'm not talking like you have to
Just
talk
kind of-
smack, but I'm intent, accountability, communication, unbelievable. Like,
Well,
hey, man,
maybe
I'm a
maybe I
laid-back,
feel like that's
chill
why he's
dude.
number 19 on this list. That he
Might
just
be.
hasn't shown those things yet.
Might be.
It's been a while. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. There's Riq Woolen. He's number 19 on the top 20 most intriguing Seahawks countdown. Today is a tie between your two inside linebackers, Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight, who I got to put them together. And part of the intriguing thing here for me is neither guy started as a starter last year. They came on over the course. I mean, their story is similar, even though one guy is a rookie and the other guy was a trade for a veteran. When they got in there, it did seem to completely alter the success of this defense. Stopping the run, stopping the passes over the middle, which had been a mammoth problem for them for as long as almost I could remember, right? All the problems they've had with passing over the linebackers in the middle of the field. Jordan Brooks was supposed to fix that. He didn't. Bringing Bobby back was supposed to fix that. It didn't. You know what? Finally, bringing the two guys in at the beginning of last year didn't fix it. And all those guys were supposed to be able to run. They were supposed to have those gifts, other than maybe Bobby at his stage, but it didn't work with any of them. And I thought when Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones got in there, it really changed the deal. The question is, how good can they be? In Tyrese Knight's case, rookie last year who grew into it, Adam Dirty thinks he could be better and better.
Yeah, I thought he made leaps and bounds, from like when he started in the Miami game and then he came back and played in San Francisco game. He just felt calmer when he was out there. And, he's kind of like that. He's like, there's nothing too much for him. He goes out there, and I think the growth of it is just understanding why we call the plays, when we call the plays, what opportunities you have, what's your true job, what assignment you've got, and how do you make the plays you can make, and then how do you guide the players in front of you, setting them up, lining them up, him and EJ working on that.
So he's pretty high on what he can do. And then on the other side, Lofa had some great things to say about Ernest Jones, who, brought just a level of assuredness, I think, of consistency, of just sure tackling in the middle of this defense last year. He didn't get a lot of love nationally for being a top 10, top 15 linebacker, but he sure seemed to change this Seahawks defense.
Oh, I thought it was imperative that we get him under contract. You saw the lift in the defense, and I will add that, Tyrese came along very quickly, right next to him. And, of course, he was here for the whole offseason and OTAs and camp. So, he did a great job. But Ernest gave us a real, energetic surge boost of energy. It was kind of like when I watched Spoon run around just tagging people out there, right? No regard, just let's go. That, you add more pieces like that, and now you all of a sudden you have a very formidable, very scary defense.
All right, here's why I put them together and why it's not even just a tie, because then tomorrow would be 60. It's not a tie. They're just together number 18. They have to work as a pair. Both guys have missed a lot of time here in the preseason portion of this for completely different reasons. Tyrese Knight has been hurt and dealing with a medical issue, which we don't really seem to know too much about. And sadly, Ernest Jones was dealing with the death of his father, which is incredibly sad. And, all the condolences to him, and he'll be back when he's ready to be back. But it points out that without those two guys, it is one of the steepest cliffs on this roster. When those two guys are not in there, you got some real question marks at inside linebacker.
Yes, you do. From an experience standpoint, just a playmaking standpoint, and Ernest brings a little of that Josh Naylor edge that you needed. This defense needed. Every defense needs. Right? Leonard Williams got a little bit of that, but he's got a little bit of philosopher as well. Jaron Reed got a lot of that, but doesn't play every snap. Ernest Jones, and give me that cut number 21. Maybe Naylor will never say this. Kind of says it without saying it, but Ernest brings some of that swag too.
Oh, he sure does.
I like us, man. I like us versus anything and anybody. And that's how I leave it.
And there's more than that. Here he is on the idea that they might only win 7 games.
You don't want to put expectations, and then, if life happens and you don't live up to it, the media, everybody around with. I will say this. This team, if we show up like we should and show up in games that we should, 7 wins is crazy. That's insane. And we see, like you said, do I see it? Yeah, you see it. You see the disrespect. You see us coming in last in the NFC, the West, and you're like, man, don't fuel the dogs, dog. So that's how I feel about it.
Don't fuel the dogs. Some more odds yesterday, Salk. I was looking at them, the latest odds. Right, even with Stafford's injury and the injuries in San Francisco, I wondered if they would change a little bit. Nope. Seattle picked to finish last, according to the odds makers in Vegas in the NFC West. There is some disrespect.
Yeah, there is. I don't feel like that's the case. But if these two guys can't play, I mean, it completely changes my outlook on this defense of all the positions of hey, you could deal with an injury there, an injury. At inside linebacker, that would make me very nervous, given how much they're reliant on these two guys.
In the last minute here, a little football 101 when it comes to linebackers. I've heard this said about running backs a lot. It was a Wisconsin Badgerism through and through. I think that was the first time I heard it. Slow to explode through. And it's that thought process, just like we talked about with Torrey Horton the other day of slowing the game down. But then when it's time, you explode. And I think that's what we saw last year when these guys came aboard. Not with the veterans they brought in. Even Dotson can run a little bit and had a nice season the rest of the way. I think he got cut and went to Miami. But these two have the ability to be slow to the play and then explode through it. And by slow, I mean being able to actually process it. So I know where I'm supposed to be and then have the trigger and the explosiveness. And let's hope in Ernest Jones. He's intriguing because he said he never played healthy last year. He had an MCL or a meniscus, so he's never healthy. And he feels better than he ever has. And let's hope Tyrese can get back on the field. Doesn't sound like it's even the knee. It's a medical condition. Equally intriguing. And you're right, man. When these two are solidified in the middle, that defense changed an awful lot.
All right, so there you go. That is number 18. And look, why do we do the most intriguing list? It's to have the conversations that I think are the most interesting. And so sometimes when I'm thinking through and when I put these together, it's, who are we going to be talking about over the course of the year? What are the storylines going to be? And maybe that's why Riq Woolen was a little lower, Brock. It's not about his importance to the team. It's just about the conversations and where I think we're going to be talking. We'll talk about him, there's no doubt, which is why he's on the list. But I just said these two guys have been sort of circled in my mind of like, if they're healthy and they're there and they build on what they did last year, this defense is going to be one of the few best in the league.
Number 17.
All right, counting down the most intriguing Seahawks in order. And number 17 for me is Boye Mafe. I told you, we've done some like pairs of guys. Number 20 was a tie between the top 2 running backs. Then it was Riq Woolen. But then yesterday, number 18 was a tie between the 2 inside linebackers. Honestly, and I don't want to give you no reason to tune in tomorrow, Boye Mafe and Derek Hall could probably be put together as well. Right? Kind of both in the same position. I'm going to put Hall ahead of Mafe because he's younger. He took a huge step last year, and I think maybe there's a little bit more room to continue to grow, whereas I think it's possible Boye's already come closer to reaching his potential of who he is. But this is a contract year for him, too, just like it is for Riq Woolen, and he is the guy probably we have circled most often and said, can he go from good to great? He's definitely a good player. There's no doubt in my mind that Boye Mafe is a good player. He is. And he's gotten better each year. He's an athletic freak in all the right ways. He's a smart dude. He didn't have a ton of experience. We always knew it was going to be a process with him, and I think he's developed very well. I'm a big fan of his, personally, professionally, the whole deal. I really like Boye Mafe a lot, but I don't know that I would be willing to call him great. So he's got to get better. We asked him about his goals for this season.
Year 4 is just to keep developing my game. You know, you'll never have all the answers. So every day, every time I come out here, it's what can I work on and how can I get better and how can I make my game better, and just understanding that, on top of that, creating that relationship with my teammates. Sometimes what I do on the field may not complement my teammates. So making sure that we both are on the same page and that we can work in one accord.
Yeah, I mean, year 1 was him just adjusting to the NFL. Year 2, I thought he took a step and started to be like an actual NFL player. Year 3, last year, I mean, he's a good player last year, right? Bunch of sacks and set the edge well, and first year in Mike McDonald's system, which is supposed to really benefit guys like him. What's that look like now in year 4? This is the contract year. This is your opportunity to go show the rest of the league that you're worth a big-time defensive end, outside linebacker, edge rusher contract. And, you know, I would say that as of right now, he's certainly not in the top tier of that. Is he looking at this as a contract year?
It's another year, you know. I don't really look at, you know, whether it's the contracts or whatever, that whole shebang. For me, it's just being a Seahawk, you know. Every day I come out here, every year I'm here, I'm a Seahawk. And doesn't matter what the situation is, I'm going to just do that.
I mean, I definitely appreciate the use of the word shebang. That's not something you hear every day, certainly from NFL players. So, okay, we got the whole shebang going on. He can say that. I will admit I don't entirely believe him, right? Like, do you? Yeah, I know it's just another year. You're just a Seahawk, but it is your contract year. And he was a second-round pick. It's not like he made no money, but this is his chance to go make real money. And if he goes out and has double-digit sacks this year, he's going to get paid in a serious way. And if he goes out and, you know, it's 7.5 sacks or something like that, the money's not going to be nearly as high for him as it would be. So, and not to mention, they've got 3-4 guys fighting for playing time on third down to try to earn those sacks, to try to be in position to get those sacks. Look, DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be here now. Hopefully, again, there's some of that mentoring that comes from him, and he's able to teach the kids and the younger guys sort of, you know, some of the tricks of the trade. I always hope that that's going to be a part of it. I don't think anybody's counting on Nwosu for much anymore. Maybe there's another guy that comes in at some point. I know Brock's mentioned, was it Kyle Van Noy Brock was mentioning as a possibility?
Yeah, I think him and Clowney have both been floated.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, how comfortable is your position? Yeah, he's starting to think of himself now in kind of a new way.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's the other day, it was kind of funny. One of the young guys comes up to me and asked me for advice. He was like, so how do you do this and da-da-da? And I was looking at him in my head, I was like, why is he asking me? And then I realized in the moment, I was like, oh, now I'm the old guy in the room. Like, I got to give the advice and help the young guys out.
Jeez.
So
he's got a heck of a laugh, too.
It's great.
He really, I mean, he's got a pretty warm personality, don't you think? Of all the Seahawks we've talked to, he is one of the warmest. Just a guy that, I don't know, you just want to be around him. You want to hear the laugh. You want to hear him talk. He's told us some interesting things over the years. Do you remember the story he told us as a rookie, right after he was drafted, about how when he was in high school, he went to, I think it was Nigeria, right? For like 6
Yeah.
months or
No,
a
I think
semester.
his dad made sure that he went and did some schooling there.
Yeah.
Because he grew up here mostly, but that's where they're from.
We were like, oh, did you speak the language? He's like, nope. Just had to figure it out. Like, I don't know. I thought he seems like just a really good dude, an interesting guy, loves food, loves, culture. And I'm a fan of his, as I said, personally and professionally. But this is a big year for him. This is a big year because it is the one position that I think has the ability to take the Seahawks from good to great defensively, and he's one of the guys they really are counting on to step up to do that. So, Boye Mafe, number 17 on our list of most intriguing Seahawks. Brock was giving me grief the other day about Riq Woolen being too low. I don't know. We've had a couple people on here after Riq Woolen, and I really do believe they belong ahead of him. Boye is more intriguing to me than Riq Woolen because of the position. He's not out there on an island the way Riq will be, but second round pick as a pass rusher who's kind of gotten to be one of the good players at that position in the league, but has never fully crested it and gotten over the top. Yeah, I do think that's more intriguing than Riq Woolen.
And even if Riq Woolen turns out to be the most intriguing, it'll be like your Cal Raleigh thing.
Absolutely.
Like Danny wanted you to put people on the
Yes.
lower on the list, hoping that maybe they have a Cal Raleigh effect.
Well, again, it's not the best 20 players on the Seahawks. It's the most intriguing. It's the conversations around them heading into the year. And I think Boye is one of those guys who's got some pretty interesting and intriguing conversations around him to try to figure out what the defense is going to be. Look, this defense has to be great for this team to be good, right? I mean, they have to be. They got to be a top 5 defense. If you have an expectation that this Seahawks team has a shot at making the playoffs, you've got to be counting on the fact that this defense continues to improve in year 2 under Mike McDonald as it gets more complex, as they learn the system, as they get more comfortable with it. And guys like Boye Mafe playing the role of some of the dudes who've had real success in Baltimore and under Mike's system. You need it. It's not that it's pressure on him. It's opportunity for him. The whole world is open to him if he can figure it out this year. So,
Number 16.
That's 16, not 60. Sounds almost like 60 there, doesn't it? He's number 16. He's the 16th most intriguing Seahawk, but in many ways, Brock, kind of the forgotten Seahawk. Because he hasn't been around training camp really at all, at least on the field. And we haven't talked all that much about it, which is funny considering how important he is. Number 16 is left tackle Charles Cross. If this team's going to be good this year, I know we can talk about Sam Darnold a lot, and I will, but they need a healthy Charles Cross. Like, he's what makes this line even have a semblance of legitimacy, right? You take him out of the lineup, which has happened very infrequently over the last few years, and it is not the same group. They need Charles Cross.
He may be number 16 on your intrigue list, but he is in your top 5 of most irreplaceable.
100%. If we're doing most irreplaceable, he might be number 1. I mean, I have to think through that. I don't want to just say that off the cuff, but there's a decent chance he's the most irreplaceable person on this team. I'm trying to think about, Ernest Jones can be on that list just because of the lack of depth at linebacker.
Leonard Williams going to be on that list.
Yeah, although, he is.
Sam
of course
Darnold.
he is.
Sam Darnold's going to be on that list.
I don't know. I don't know if there's Sam Darnold's on that list yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, there's no doubt Charles Cross is. And the whole, dislocated finger surgery timing thing was a little weird.
Charles had a dislocated finger, long and short of it. But we felt like it was a good opportunity to just fix it so we didn't have to worry about it once it heals. So we're looking at a few weeks here, expecting to be back before the San Francisco game, sometime between, the Green Bay game and the first week. So we felt like this is a good opportunity to get him right.
I hope so, and I really hope that works out because I don't want to see what that San Francisco game looks like without him. And he's also in the midst of this contract conversation where it doesn't need to get done right now, but I think there was certainly a hope that it would get done before this season starts. He was asked about whether he would like to have it done.
I want to be in Seattle as long as I want to be in Seattle for my career. That's something I always thought of and wanted for myself. Hopefully we can get something done and it'll go that way.
You think they're going to get it done before the season starts?
I think so. The theme that I continue to hear, Salk, is bet on themselves. I think in my era, that deal would have been done.
Mm-hmm.
I think 10 years ago, that deal would have been done. I think there's more players more willing to just kind of bet on themselves whether that's through some past NIL coin, whether that's through, hey, the longer I wait, I'm just watching it. The next man up, the next man up, the next man up. And yeah, the longer I wait, the more that cap's going to grow, the bigger that number is going to get. Not going to lock in now. And there's, I think, a few Seahawks that are playing that bet on myself.
So you don't think it gets done before the season? I mean, that would be the point. If you think he's betting on himself, then you don't think it's getting done.
Yeah, and I don't think the Seahawks have to be in an enormous rush either because they have him this year and next year. And you know the way that this goes with the agent. Like, here's the deal.
Well, this
here's
year,
what
next
he's
year,
making
and
this
then,
year.
and then
here's what he's making next year. So we can average this out. We can put some more millions on it. But this is how we've always done business.
Well, plus then they can franchise him if they want to. I mean, like, he might not be going anywhere for quite some time. Right. But, yeah, I still am hopeful that it gets done just so he's happy and content and able to concentrate. And he's just so important. And he's now sort of like, you know, the big veteran presence there. Gray Zabel talked about his importance when he first got there.
Can't even put into words how much, I mean, a guy like Charles Cross has helped me so far. He seems like a big brother to me, kind of guide me through the ranks and what to expect and kind of tips and tricks and all that stuff. So, and I mean, it goes all the way across the board from Olu, Jalen. So I'm pretty fortunate to be in the offensive line room that I am in.
So I don't think it's coincidence that the Seahawks have won for most of the 2000s. Been largely winners. You know, a little bit of a dip there at the end of Holmgren and Moore didn't work. And obviously 7-9 before Russ came to town. But I don't think it's coincidence. You've had some pretty good quarterback play for a couple decades, and you've had some pretty darn good tackle play, left tackle play. From Walter Jones to Russell Okung to Charles Cross. A lot of organizations.
You're missing one in there, too. Dwayne Brown.
That's right. It was a little more just because he wasn't, you know, kind of homegrown like the others.
No, but I think you got to put him on that list. I mean,
he
like,
was super solid, absolutely.
During the time they didn't have him yet, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, Bad Wattel was rough.
Like you got to have him. You got to put him on the list.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll put him in. But the other three are all kind of homegrown and sustainable and long term, and I think that's been a benefit. And having Charles here for the next 4 or 5 years with his athleticism and his play would be very, very nice.
Well, there you go. Number 16 in the most intriguing list is Charles Cross.